Coming up, we have stories about arguments at birthday parties, extending pet sitting, tense blended family situations, cutting off your partner's spending, inappropriate swimsuits, starting fights for attention. We also have spicy stories and cake stories. Am I the astronaut for apologizing for a dad fight at my kid's birthday party? My 27 male girlfriend, 31 female, is divorced amicably. He came out as gay, and I've all but moved in with her and her son, whom I will call Jason, 11 male. We've been dating for about a year and have known each other for longer than that, and I've been picking up her kid after soccer while she's at her job late some days, pediatric dentist. He isn't interested in calling me dad, but he does call me dude. He says it sounds like dad, but isn't dad because I'm just a dude. He's a great kid, and I love him dearly. Jason's 11th birthday party was this past week, and my girlfriend's father pulled me aside and asked me if I would stay out of their family photos, a tradition they've been doing every year since he was born, where they take the picture in the same group pose so they can all line up in their album. Now, I thought I'd be real funny and photobomb this with a funny face and a peace sign, and while Jason and I were both giggling afterwards, my father-in-law was not. They did get the family photo later, even after I went and asked him more formally if I could be in it. I was declined. I have to say, it did kind of get under my skin a bit. I had been pretty much living with them for some time now, and it really stung to be formally uninvited from a family tradition centered around my kid. This ended up hitting me harder than I expected, honestly, and I was morose and silent throughout the rest of the party. Now, her dad seemed like a really good guy. However, he was not at all happy with me now. He pulled me out to the back porch and yelled at me about how I was so disrespectful to the family tradition that started when my girlfriend's mother was still alive. She passed away during COVID. And when her sister, older, adopted when she was a teenager, moved to Germany a few years ago, was living with them. I had not been aware of the severity of the situation and started crying and apologizing. It was loud and the neighbors 100% heard it. It's at this point my girlfriend comes out and she sees her dad yelling at me and my crying. She was very angry at him for how he was treating me behind her back, and he ended up leaving in a huff. She was very mad at him, but also at me for starting a scene over something that she thought was so silly. This is my question. I wanted to call him to apologize for the way that I acted. My girlfriend, however, when I asked her for his phone number, did not want me to. She said I didn't do anything wrong and I didn't know the situation at the time and that he needed to have someone not bend over backwards for forgiveness just because of a disagreement. I understand that she feels like that, but her dad already isn't 100% on me. I work at a weed shop and he's given me stern warnings before about the kind of long-term responsibility he expects from me if I'm going to be his grandkid's parent. I don't want to go behind my girlfriend's back when she has expressly told me not to apologize, so I guess I have to ask, am I the asshole for still planning to? Let's talk for a second before we get into the edit. So, Tata Rooney, thoughts here? This is a fustercluck.
Yeah, the dad is for sure an asshole, but I think if your girlfriend asked you not to apologize, and that is your question, am I the asshole for still planning to apologize? Yes, because she specifically asked you not to do it. This is her dad. You're like a year into the relationship, isn't that what he said?
Year in.
Then I think you need to respect her wishes on this one. Like, she's explicitly told you not to do it.
I would agree. Because after all, I mean, your allegiance here is to your inner circle, her, and your kid, not to him, right? I understand that, like, you feel like you fucked up and you need to make amends here, but you didn't know the extent of the situation, so everything that she's telling you carries through. So understand that if you do it, there's going to be hell to pay. You're going to be intentionally stepping in it if you end up doing it. Now, I kind of got embarrassed for you in the beginning here, not the beginning, but after dad was like, hey, we're going to do this picture. It's a family tradition. We've been doing it ever since X time. Could you just hang back for that one? And you're like, I'll be funny and I'll photobomb it. I mean, I'm a jokester. I'm the kind of guy who's going to photobomb something. But if somebody tells me ahead of time that there's a sentimental value behind something and asks me not to with it, I'm not going to with it. So I think you stepped in it a little bit when you did that in the first place. And you know what? Had you not done that, would you be in this situation right now? Now, there are some problems between you and him anyway, right? And this isn't going to fix that. Apologizing for this is not going to fix that situation at all.
Right.
And according to your girlfriend, it sounds like her dad needs somebody to not bend over backward for him. So So this is as much her decision, or this is more her decision than it is yours, I
I
guess.
believe, yeah, this is a strategic move for a girlfriend to manage situations with her father. And I feel like you should respect that.
Yeah.
And not, like, you saw what happened when you took it upon yourself to insert yourself in a situation. So don't do it again, because this would be strike 2.
Edit! All right, this one is on me. There's a critical piece of information I seem to have neglected to explain properly. We've been friends for 7 years, including before she was divorced. I was in contact with her when it happened, and I've known Jason personally for a similar amount of time. We've only been officially dating since last September. She's also spoken to me once before about getting married. That is scary as to me, so to be perfectly honest, I kind of gave her a non-committal non-answer, I admit, but I am not some weird stranger digging into someone's family. Okay. So in this case, he's addressing the whole 1 year thing, which I thought about while reading it. And I'm like, man, yeah, you've been together 1 year. You're already living together and trying to insert yourself in everything here. And dad is protective of that. You've known each other longer. Appreciate that context, but still you've only been officially dating for a year. So maybe give it some time before your expectations of being included in traditions are cemented, right?
Yeah, I still think the dad was a raging asshole I think his yelling at it had something more to do with the fact that the adopted sister was in it and now she's not, and mom was in it and now she's not. And all of these things make that an emotional situation for dad. But still, you don't get to take your emotions out on people.
No.
But it's just a messy situation all around. And I think if you take anything further, it's going to make it way fucking worse, and you're going to be in trouble.
Yep. Am I the astronaut for refusing to give my ex-girlfriend's dog back after she abandoned it with me for a year? Throwaway and fake names. I, 29 male, broke up with my ex, Chloe, 28 female, about 14 months ago. It was messy. When she moved out, she asked if I could watch her dog, a senior dachshund, Frank, for a couple of weeks while she found a pet-friendly place. I agreed because I loved that dog. Love that dog. Weeks turned into months. For the first few months, she'd text to ask about him, but she never came to visit or sent money for food or vet bills. The text slowly stopped. After 6 months, I texted her and said, "Hey, are you getting Frank soon? His food and care are expensive." She replied after a day, "I'm still looking. Thanks so much for doing this." At the 10-month mark, Frank had a big vet bill. I spent over $300-ish on him, and I lost my job at the moment. I didn't even bother texting her. She hadn't reached out in 4 months. I paid for it, and I officially considered him my dog. Last week, out of the blue, Chloe shows up at my door. She's got a new job, new apartment, and a new boyfriend. She said, "I'm here for Frank. Thanks for watching him." I said no. Said she abandoned him. I've been his sole caretaker for over a year. I paid for his bills and food. She got hysterical, calling me a thief. She said he was her emotional support animal during our relationship and she needs him back. She offered to pay me back for the surgery in installments. I told her to get lost and shut the door. Now she's blowing up my phone and her new boyfriend is sending me threatening messages. My friends are split. Some say I saved the dog and he's mine. Others say I'm being a bitter ex and stealing her property out of spite and that I should have given her a chance to pay me back. Who are those friends? Those are the friends who aren't pet owners. Clearly. What do you think, Tater Rooney?
Frank is your dog, and I hope that you two live happily ever after. Because I get antsy on vacation when I miss my dogs. I can't imagine not seeing them for 14 months and then just waltzing back into their life like I didn't abandon them. I'm sorry. I feel very strongly about this. That is your dog.
I think even legally, it's abandoned property. You can't just leave someone in someone else's place for a year.
And you tried, like at 6 months, you tried to be like, hey, let's, before this goes any further, and nothing. No, that's your baby.
If you end up having to take this to like a civil court, I think you've got everything you need for this to be solidified. And you know what? Tell her that. Be like, okay, listen, the new boyfriend showing up and sending the threatening messages, I'm sure the version of this story that he got is wildly inaccurate. Your friends, like, who cares? This is your call. And if she doesn't like it, tell her to get a lawyer.
Yeah, I would be. I'm sorry, but nope. That's your dog. want to see crazy candy come out. That would be the way to do it. Show up at my door after a year demanding a dog. Frank would be in a sweater and he'd be on my lap.
Frank would be. Please get another animal. It can be a dog or a cat, but name it Beans. Please.
Oh, I love it.
Please have a Frank and Beans. Please.
Please also be careful when you let him outside. Make sure that you're with him.
Chip him.
I would also send the boyfriend the actual story and then block both numbers. The friends who are saying that you're bitter ex stealing property, not sure they're quite your friends. Choose Frank. And yeah, that's the only feedback I have.
This spicy story is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Admitting to Something My Brother and I Did as Kids? So, our family recently got together to celebrate my grandmother's birthday. The atmosphere was very relaxed. We shared stories and so on. At one point, one of my aunts confessed that she had dyed my other aunt's, her sister's, wedding dress, making it look pink, and she was the reason why the wedding was postponed. Damn. Everyone thought it was funny and started confessing to various things. No one blamed anyone. Everyone laughed, and there were lots of, I always knew it was you, etc. So at some point I spoke up. I don't remember exactly how I said it, but it was something like, hey, remember that weird stalker who used to text my cousin when she was 15 and every day and send her badly photoshopped pictures of blue ugly cats? Yeah, that was me and my brother when we was 8 and 12. You stalked her with poorly photoshopped pictures of blue ugly cats? I mean, at 8 and 12, like anything's funny that you do, right? I thought everybody would react similarly because the situation was equally absurd, and now I can say that A, those photos were really ugly, and B, it was pretty obvious it had to be somebody from our family because this stalker knew things no one else had the right to know and always knew about it 5 minutes after the fact. The thing is, no one laughed. My cousin, on the other hand, got absolutely furious and started saying that my brother and I had ruined her teenage years and that we had scared her for a long time about being afraid to leave the house, etc. Meanwhile, my brother decided to blame it all on me, saying it was 100% my idea and that he resisted, and that he wanted to tell everyone many times, but I told him not to. I literally remember that it was 50-50. We both had fun, and then we got bored and never talked about it again. Plus, he is literally the older one. You were 8 and he's throwing you under the bus. He's the mastermind. It ended with my aunt, my cousin's mother, having to drag my cousin to another room because she was crying and screaming at us. Things got awkward, and eventually my grandfather told everyone to leave. Later, my brother sent me a message saying, why would you tell everyone? And since then, no one else has texted me. The only time I was mentioned was in the group chat, me, brother, sister, mom, and dad, when dad said he was disappointed in us, me and my brother. But honestly, I don't understand. I mean, yeah, it was wrong, but also literally everyone that day was telling stories about how they were terrible people in the past. And everybody was laughing. And it's not even the other stories were any milder. Other examples include one uncle confessed that when he was 8, he deliberately encouraged his sister, my aunt, to jump out of a tree, hoping she would break something, go to the hospital, and then he could eat the whole cake himself. So I really don't understand why this particular story caused such a mess. Edit, I forgot to add that the stalker story took place 14 years ago. I also don't know why many people assume in the comments that I'm a man, I'm a woman. Okay. I think the big thing that makes this different is that it wasn't a one-time prank. Like,
no.
They kept this up over a period of time. And look, this happened when you were 8 and your brother was 12. Like, it's the keeping it up over a period of time.
Unknown number cat version. Like, why are you sending pictures of, I don't even get it. But no, it's not okay to repeatedly text someone, especially when you know that there's probably some kind of family thing going on where they're trying to figure out who's sending these pictures, and then it happens to be you, and you know personal information, and you're sharing that from an unknown number. I don't think that's okay. And if that happened to my child, I would have a problem with it.
14 years ago would be, 2010?
Right.
2011, right around there. I'm trying to think back if it was a different time when things would have been perceived differently. I don't think so. And at 12 and 8, like, you have no fucking idea what you're doing. Why you would start doing this in the first place is a little beyond me. And also, I get the hint that it was a little more serious than just ugly cats that you were
Right, 'cause
that
you-
you were messaging.
You're talking about personal information that only someone inside her family would know. And then for that to be used to be sent from an unknown number would cause issues for a teenage girl, would cause like scared issues for a teenage girl, in my opinion.
But they wouldn't know that at 12 and 8.
No.
I mean, I don't, but I would think, here's the deal. And the question is, am I the astronaut for admitting to something my brother and I did as kids? So now, 15 years later, so you're trying to figure out ages. 23 and 27 are the ages, so you're 23 now. I think that now you should probably know like how bad what you did was, and I expect there to be like deep regret for it, but also know that in the context of people throwing around these funny stories about the dumb things that they did, those weren't as severe as what you threw out here. So I would have kept my mouth shut. I think that's my point.
Yeah, 100%. This was encouraging your sibling to jump out of a tree.
So you could have the whole cake.
That's like a childlike thing to do, not in a great way, but that's a one-time off thing. That's not something they continue to do to violate someone's privacy over the course of a time, where this girl clearly has a lot of feelings about what happened to her, and to know that it was you, it's probably going to take a minute for her to even come to the table to hear you apologize. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I think
it's a very weird situation.
Am I the astronaut for sitting my brother and sister-in-law down and speaking up for my niece and nephews of how badly they are handling the new normal for their stepfamily? My brother has 3 children. Luke, 16 male, Cam, 14 female, and Bo, 11 male, with my late best friend, Cam. My brother and late best friend were married for almost a decade and separated just before Cam passed away from a brain bleed in her early 30s. Damn. My niece Cam was named very similarly to her mother intentionally. My brother was the one who suggested it when they found out baby number 2 was a girl. My niece always used her full name, however, while my best friend was always Cam. After my best friend died, my niece decided she wanted that extra connection to her mom and stopped using her full name and chose to go by Cam. Everyone respected this and started calling her Cam. My brother had no problem with her doing this previously. He called her Cam just like everybody else. My niece, when asked about her name, would say she was named after her mom and Minnie Cam. This has become a problem now because my brother remarried a couple of years ago. His new wife always had a problem with Cam being Cam and being a Minnie. She tried to use Cam's full name, but my niece told her she didn't like it and went by Cam for a reason. Sister-in-law vocalized some complaints a few months ago in the marriage, but dropped them around the rest of the family when she had no support in her complaint. When she remembered that I was late Cam's best friend, she closed off to me completely. A few times she complained about how often Cam, my best friend, was mentioned, and how people reminded Cam, niece, that she looks just like her mom. It all came to a head 2 months ago when my brother and sister-in-law sat the kids down and told Cam it was bothering sister-in-law to have her use the same name as her mom. That she wanted them all to use her full name like she did before her mom died. She said she did not see why that was such a big deal. My brother backed her up with the request. She also requested that they speak about their mom less at home because it makes sister-in-law uncomfortable.
This bitch.
Instead of doing this, the kids all doubled down and talked about their mom more, and Cam made sure her name was used significantly more. The boys would repeat her name just to get to sister-in-law. My brother said nothing until sister-in-law tried to put a stop to it, and he supported her again. He told the kids not to chase sister-in-law away. They said they wanted to, and they'd rather she go than their mom's memory go. There was a fight several days after that discussion where Cam told sister-in-law she would never be as good as her mom, and just because she was jealous and insecure, she was going to compare everything so she'd realize how not good she is. Cam was punished for this. The boys supported their sister, and more discourse erupted in the house. The kids all bundled all their mom's things up and sent them to my house for safekeeping. Smart kids. Sister-in-law then freaked out about how much they were turning her into the enemy. She started using Cam's full name all the time, and my brother took her side when fights ensued. The kids told me about it last week and decided someone else needed to step in, so I sat sister-in-law and brother down and told them plainly they were messing up the new normal as a stepfamily. I said by making their mom the enemy or someone who needs to be hidden away, sister-in-law and my brother have guaranteed that she will be the enemy to them. I said fighting a person over their name just shows how much the two of them need to figure their shit out. They didn't appreciate it coming from me, and they accused me of overstepping. Am I the astronaut? Okay, so it's overstepping is the issue here. But good gravy, how insecure does somebody have to be to try to erase the memory of these children's mom? It's not even just because it's her now husband's ex. It's their mother. That's not your call.
Right. I'm going to try to say this as kindly as possible, but this bitch, you're NTA. This woman needs to go, and the brother or the dad, whatever.
He's willing.
He's just letting it happen instead of fighting for his kids. If he actually stood up and fought for his kids, in my opinion, he sucks the worst in this whole story.
I would agree.
Because he's just going along with it because he doesn't want to fight about it. These are your fucking kids. They lost their mom, and you are the one biological parent they have left, and you're telling this new woman that it's okay to change their name? Dude.
And he knows this is wrong.
Pull your head out of your ass.
There's no way he doesn't know this is wrong. And his head up isn't up his ass, it's up her ass. He knows it's wrong. And he's letting this happen anyway because he's afraid of losing her.
He's afraid of losing someone in a role that he's already lost someone in. And he knows what that pain feels like, and he doesn't want to relive it. But that is no excuse to do this to your kids. Think about how they feel and what you are forcing upon them over a name.
Yeah.
Over 3 letters, you're allowing your family to become dysfunctional when it's already been through so much. And dude, you're going to have kids that don't speak to you.
Exactly. And I think that's the context that dad needs here. Dad needs to know that by letting your current wife have her way, you are choosing to not have children.
That is...
You're going to lose them.
Dude, just like you want to grab someone and be like, stop. And so in this point, OP, you did what I think was extremely necessary for those kids, for your best friend's kids. And damn, it's like you just want to shake someone and be like, stop it. Stop being a punk.
Come to your senses, you bitches.
Yes, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah. Snap out of it. If we were f***ing something up, I would want someone to come in and have a discussion with us rather than just come in and say, you're f***ing up.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I think when you triple down on something this many times, you're f***ing up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If you're going to marry someone that is a widow or that has been widowed, your insecurities have to be checked at the door.
It's a package deal, number one.
Because you can't erase somebody to make yourself fit in that spot, because all you're doing is damaging the family even further after they've already experienced death of a parent. You can't come in and erase somebody just because you are too insecure to respect someone's memory. Don't date people if you don't want to be somebody's stepmom. Don't date people with kids if you can't show up in a way for them that they need you to be.
Right. Am I the astronaut for cutting off my overspending wife? Oh my. My wife and I got married 3 months ago. We're in our 40s, both have good stable jobs, have a nice home, can pay our bills, and don't really have to stress much about things in life, except for one thing. Her ex-husband and baby daddy. She has 2 beautiful children from a past marriage whom I've taken on as my own, and we have a great little family. Her ex absolutely hates this and does whatever he can just to make life difficult. Ergo, not pay child support, not pick up the kids on his days, they have 50-50 custody, pick them up late when he does get them, not take them to medical appointments or skip the bill for school, extracurriculars, so we're stuck paying extra over and over again, things like that. She's recently decided she's sick of it and took him to court for contempt on multiple items. It's the right thing to do. Problem is, I make 3 times as much as her, and she can't really afford an attorney, so I have to foot the bill. I offered to do it, as this is an issue that doesn't just affect her. Obviously, it affects me, it affects the children, the whole house, so I'm happy to do what's right to protect my family. Here's where things get complicated. I have always been financially savvy, have all of my credit cards paid off, no large outstanding debts, good credit score. I have a tight budget where everything is covered, put a little away each month, and even help my wife hack at her $20,000 credit card debt. As this case progresses and gets worse, it's looking like it will end up being a child custody case. And now she's going crazy on wanting to hire and get involved with all these extra people and unnecessary services like he's some fugitive under a manhunt. She wants to hire a forensic accountant, $6,000, 2 private investigators, $4,000. Her attorney just asked for another $5,000, already gave her $8,000, and who knows what else she will come up with. Guess who she expects to pay for all this? I know this is a stressful time in her life, but like I said above, we have everything we need. We're not starved for money, but this activity will financially ruin us. I sat her down and said that we couldn't afford it. I'm on her side and we can explore all options, but we have to be smart and buckle down for the long run, as this case will likely take 6 to 9 months, and we have to make calculated decisions about our finances. She was livid. How dare I control our finances like a dictator, and that I was no better than her ex. She demanded that I give her $5,000 or we will separate and get divorced. We just got married 3 months ago. I've been trying to speak and reason with her daily and she won't listen. Give her the money or get out. I've been sleeping poorly on the couch for 2 weeks thinking she'll come to her senses, but she can't just snap out of this vendetta, and I'm either with her or against her. Am I the astronaut for cutting her off when we just don't have the money to carelessly throw away like this? Well, damn.
I don't feel like I'm, I don't know.
Well, what's that now?
I don't feel like I should be making comments on this story. I don't know enough about family court, but if to know if those things are necessary.
I mean, look, this could be like a wild freaking case here, but look, if she ends up needing a forensic accountant and private investigators, those are probably going to be things that are going to be recommended and facilitated by her attorney, right? This is her trying to send everything, right? She's trying. She's going to end up crossing wires here and like negating her entire case in the first place. It's a pretty cut and dry case. Like he doesn't pay child support. He doesn't pick them up on time. As long as there's documentation of all this shit, she doesn't need all of this other stuff. But the bigger issue to me is she's trying to not just do the right thing for the kids and win this here, but she's trying to just demolish her ex. So now it's like a passion war between them, which means there's probably still some unresolved feelings there, right?
This is how, the passionate war between exes over children is how a lot of people make money and get rich, because they know that we're willing to go to the ends of the earth to protect our kids. And in my opinion, if I was going back to court to try to change custody, I would not be doing this stuff first. Like, this stuff would come later depending on the outcome of court the first round.
If like just the simple fact that she needs $5,000 and is demanding it from this man she married 3 months ago, and if she doesn't get it, she's going to leave him.
You're an asshole.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it sounds like you still have separate finances even though you're married, and probably for a reason, because you're very prepared or very budget oriented, right? So this is all like tough for you anyway. But at 3 months, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this $20,000 or this $5,000 that she's talking about here is that you've already given $8,000, so you've already given premarital assets that weren't mixed, that you didn't have to do. You've already done that, but now she's demanding this of you, knowing that that's what you brought into here, knowing it's not an hours thing, knowing she's taking this from you, and if you don't do it, she'll leave you. And also the whole like you're no better than my ex comment in there too. I'm like, whoa, like this is I'm not getting my way, so I'm going to throw a fit and I'm going to go for the jugular and I'm going to spit venom instead of trying to compromise, instead of trying to see reason here. And I'm like, look, if this is the way that we're going to handle our problems, then this is going to be a toxic situation here. Yeah. But it's more complicated because he's already integrated himself into the kids' lives too.
I think if someone at 3 months is saying, give me this or we get divorced, if somebody's pulling off the D word right out the gate, do they really want to be married, or are they here for means to an end? Because you shouldn't speak to your spouse like that unless you actually mean it.
They've been married for 3 months. Yeah.
3 months after getting married, you should not be telling your spouse that you're getting divorced, like that, do this or I'm going to divorce you. I think if you're willing to go there after 3 months, why are you in this relationship? Is it just to pay for this, or is it for something else? Because at this point, it's not looking good for the wife. I would say that the husband, I don't know. I don't even know if he's an asshole.
Am I the astronaut for cutting off my overspending wife? It is complicated, and I don't feel like it was an ultimatum from his point of view. I think from his point of view, it was like, we can't do this. We have to think for the long term. We have to prepare here. And he has compromised because he's already given a good chunk here. So, like, it's an ESH there. I'm in TA. I'm in TA because I don't know what choice you have here. If somebody is just seeing red and in just blind rage battle mode, there has to be a voice of reason there at some point that is just like, the resources do not exist. Am I the astronaut for telling my brother his wife's swimsuit was inappropriate? My younger brother was visiting with his wife and kid. He's been married about 2 years now and lives out of state, so I only see him about once a year. They are staying at our home. This would be our 4th time actually being around my sister-in-law, and she's a very nice woman that my wife and I get along with well when we've seen her. The problem came when we were all grilling in the backyard and decided to use the pool. Sister-in-law came out in basically a thong bikini. I didn't think this was appropriate at all, but held my tongue as to not embarrass her. But I have a preteen daughter in-house and can't have people over dressing inappropriately in front of her. I talked with my wife about it that night, and she agreed it wasn't family appropriate, but said not to say anything to her as to not make things uncomfortable. I said I wouldn't, but that I would address it with my brother privately because I can't have our daughter seeing that in our home and thinking we approve. She said she preferred I just let it go, but I don't think that's responsible parenting. So the next day I spoke to my brother privately and prefaced that this might be an uncomfortable conversation, but it's necessary. I told him my concerns and asked that he have her wear a more appropriate suit. He got a little offended and accused me of sexualizing his wife. I said that's not my intent, and it would be one thing if it was just us adults, but I have a kid in the house who we're trying to raise with a sense of modesty. I don't want to normalize that kind of swimsuit in our house. Then he said, that's just what they wear. It's not a big deal, which surprised me since we were raised in the same house. Not gonna lie, I did feel like I lost a little respect for him being cool with such a display by his wife. Then he asked me, what do I do if I go to the beach? I told him I can't control everyone at the beach, but I can control what's allowed in my home, and that when it comes to kids, what you allow, you condone. And I'm not going to have my kid thinking we condone that. And especially since she gets along with her aunt, I don't want her looking at that style as something she thinks is cool. He said he wasn't going to tell her to change, as that would be weird, but they simply wouldn't use the pool anymore. I said, fine, handle it. Handle it however you think is best, but I don't want to see it again in my home. I also told him we won't use the pool either for the duration of his visit, so that no one feels singled out or anything. He ended with, fine, so you're like dad now. I said I should be so lucky and left it at that. The rest of the visit went fine, no issues, but I felt a bit of tension with me and my brother. So am I the astronaut for how I handled this? I tried to do it in a way that would minimize the potential embarrassment for anyone, but still put a stop to the inappropriate behavior.
So here's the problem that I have is that him and his wife had a conversation. They disagreed, but he felt that how he felt in his home trumped what his wife felt.
He just ignored.
He ignored his wife's input in their home, which is what his issue is. That is, this is happening in their home. His wife said not to. His wife said to leave it alone, and he did it anyways. So to me, I think that this man is an asshole for that behavior alone, because it is both of their homes and you need to act like it. You both get input into the conversation and you need to come to an agreement together that you are both comfortable with, whatever that looks like. But this was not an agreement together that they were both comfortable with in their own home. So I think, no, I would not personally wear a thong bikini around my kids, but that is my choice. And I do believe that if you're going to go to the beach, if you're going to go to a pool, if you're going to go to a different country, you are going to see different things, and you are going to see women wearing different types of bathing suits. You're going to see men wearing different types of bathing suits. You can't stop what you see. And the agreement wasn't made to stop this in their home by both partners. And so I think that OP is the asshole.
One of the things that rubbed me really wrong about how OP approached this was with kids, what you allow, you condone. And he's talking about in the context of other adults in your home, what you allow, you condone, which I understand. And I think you do have a responsibility as a parent to, in the home, like protect the environment and to set some guidelines here. But I think the flip side of the what you allow, you condone when it relates to other adults in your home that aren't within your immediate family here are essentially, you have the right to control other people. And that's dangerous. You know what I mean? That's a dangerous way to look at things. Like if your grandparents stay over, what you have the right to institute like a dress code for them. I mean,
I don't.
There's a danger there, but I do agree with Candy Thunder here. The biggest issue was that they had a discussion as a couple. They did not come to a conclusion, and he went ahead and carried it out as if it was both of them, as if it was both of their wishes.
Hear me out. He was trying to protect his daughter, but it's not just his daughter; it's their daughter. The wife had already made her input on the situation known. She didn't want anything said. I think the person that was truly uncomfortable was OP.
Yeah.
This man was uncomfortable.
For sure.
Because somebody was wearing a thong. It's an ass. If someone came to our house in a thong bikini, I don't, whatever. Like, I don't care. It's not, my kids know how we feel. And at a certain point, our girls are going to be adults in 2 years. I'm not going to control what they wear. That is something that I have to come to terms with.
Am I the astronaut for publicly shaming my wife for falling for a romance scam? Wife, 46 female, and I, 54 male, have been through some challenges. I had a serious health issue that took a few years to recover from, stress of work, aging, and life leading to a flat marriage. We had been through many challenges in the past, but a significant shift started about 10 months ago. She began to simply not do any of her responsibilities, became secretive, changed passwords and codes, and although we never policed each other in 25 years, these were open. Email, phones, cards, etc. I never once opened the door to look, but we both knew the door was unlocked if wanted. Her arguing became more and more difficult to comprehend, irrational anger, and then if I responded, she would secretly record me, edit out her instigation. What? She even shared videos to my daughter, 33 female, and other friends. To give an example, she basically cut off all contact with my daughter when my daughter said, "I don't know, sounds like he's the level-headed one on this and you're being a bit irrational." She even tried multiple times to instigate a physical altercation. At no point ever, not now, not ever, have I ever even considered raising a hand to her. It's actually inconceivable to me. Inconceivable! I was well aware of the red flags, hiding, sneaking off, hiding her phone when I came in the room, then small weird banking issues. 100 here, 100 there, then more. Like I say, I never policed her. I trusted her implicitly for over 2 decades. When I raised some questions about the banking, there were excuses, but then she started using her Visa rather than the account. I don't get her statements or open her mail. Anyways, how it ended up was she started pulling high-interest loans and washing through her Visa to whatever end and dumping the loan repayments onto the primary account. And they all hit like an avalanche. Then the account was locked because she tried a large transfer to a Bitcoin exchange and the bank intervened. At this point, I'm reeling from being hit by one bus after another, and I'm still the bad guy. I made her move to the country. Not exactly. She actually found the place we bought 19 years ago and suggested it to me. I'm verbally abusive. I'll make no excuses. I said some mean stuff in the last while. I'm distant, etc. I moved out to my office. It's a separate building with the agreement that I could make food, coffee, and use facilities as needed. I happen to be in the kitchen making coffee and her phone is sitting face up with the case open on the counter. She has pathologically kept it hidden, controlled for months, so I'm somewhat surprised it's there, and as I'm pouring coffee, a long "I love you" message pops up on it. I snap a pic with my phone, look up the name, and find the profile of a guy who lives near where she's been asking me to take out an equity loan so she could go back to school. A friend digs. I'm blocked by her on all social media platforms by this point, and she has squishy cooing posts going back months under his pictures. I confront her on this. First response is, I've only been chatting a few days or weeks, and we're not together now, and I can do what I want. I bring up the screenshots of the post, and it becomes, okay, maybe a month or so, but it was just harmless flirting. As I peel back layer after layer, it's well over 6 months. After putting it together, I ask outright, the Bitcoin thing, where did that come from? Him. And these ideas? Him. And on and on. But prior, I blew up. Online with her family and mutual friends. A complete carpet bombing to see what rats scurried out of the rubble. A mutual friend, female, dug in fast and determined clearly it was a scammer, catfish, fake. So she even found the sister of the real guy whose profile was stolen. And this is not the first time this has happened. A week passes and she asks if I will come back into the house, but says, I don't know if I'm ready for a decision as to if we try to go forward. My response was, you think this is all your decision? I wouldn't trust you with a stale loaf of bread. And there's no way I'll lie in bed as some placeholder while you online shop for my replacement next to me. She keeps saying it wasn't real, he wasn't real, but the intention was the damage. That's real to me. The months of gaslighting and making me doubt my own sanity is real. The hurt and confusion were real. I even said just to be open with it all, put it all on the table. And she continued to lie about how long, as mentioned above, it was peeling back layers like an onion with a new layer hidden underneath, with each new revelation moving the start back further and further. She's still lying about things. Now I'm getting flack from some friends and local acquaintances that I was too harsh, too public, too mean about my response, and how I demeaned and embarrassed her and could have done it privately. Now I'm the asshole again because I publicly shamed and demeaned her, and I won't let it go. So, am I the astronaut? Okay, I've got to scroll back up here because I missed something big.
So she was being scammed by someone thinking that she was in love. We've read a follower story like this before that happened to their mom. That was a lot.
Where was the public humiliation here? But prior, he blew it up online with her family and mutual friends. Okay. So did a post or did messages, or I had to have been a post for it to be this public humiliation, right?
NTA, if you're taking money out of a mutual account to pay someone that you're having an affair with, it's not even a real affair, but whatever, you're a fucking asshole.
Look,
like that's the bottom line.
It's a scam because it works.
Why? What?
Because look, there are people who are starved for attention enough, and when they finally get a little bit of it, will do anything to maintain it. That's how they take advantage here. So they gave her some attention online. She got dependent on it, and then their goalpost kept moving. So she just drove her life into the ground to keep it and get someone hooked on it enough. It's like any drug, right?
I mean,
like they were willing to cash in their entire life to ride the high.
If you are taking out loans to finance someone you've never met, like, how? I don't, like, how?
But Gerald, he loves me!
I know that people are scammed, and I know it exists, but...
We don't know how much...
What a despicable scam artist person
how many
company,
people,
whoever's running this scam.
How many people have they taken advantage of? He or they? Like,
that's how they make a living. That's how they,
just swindling people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content, and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.